Hello. I'm talking to you today from a hotel room in London. I came here for the Olivier Awards. Our group has been invited to participate, to watch, some of us are presenting awards, not me, tonight. These are the equivalent of the Tonys in New York and Broadway. This is the West End version of awards for the best shows. And it is extraordinary to be here. It's extraordinary to be on this sort of unexpected journey. So much keeps happening that I don't see coming. It just suddenly I'm told, here's a ticket to go to London, you're going to go to this show. And the unexpected nature of my life now is a wonderful way to perceive, really, what is special about life. When things are unexpected, when you're in different environments, you really begin to see what you don't see when you're home, what you don't see when you're around your normal environment. Everything becomes somewhat remarkable. But what I've been learning on this journey, because many of my days are just unremarkable, is how extraordinarily remarkable unremarkable is. The moment-to-moment existence of our lives is a miracle. And it's a miracle that's missed by almost everybody. My walk to the theater, which is a much more exciting walk than what I used to have walking to the rehearsal hall in London. The walk to the theater in Manchester is through a downtown area with lots and lots of people. And I have come to look at everybody, to stare at their faces, to look in their eyes, and I've begun to feel the stories of every person that walks by me. It's extraordinary to see the lives, the density, the richness, the complexity, the fullness, or the emptiness of so many lives. And so many people walking through the streets having no idea what a miracle they're in, what an extraordinary gift their body is, their eyes are, their ears are, what an extraordinary gift material life is to be present in, to look around you and see how much has been manifest, how much has arisen into being, and how much is going out of being at the same time. The transformation of existence, of reality, of the molecularity of individual moments, coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, surprising us some days with their remarkable nature, and often seeming to be just repetitions of what was there the day before and the day before and the day before. And it's this patterning, this repetition that people experience that starts to give them a kind of dulled sense of reality. Because they keep looking at life as though I've seen this before. I know this toothbrush. I know this toothpaste. Everything has a kind of familiarity, and it becomes ultimately invisible. And the only way to see what is in front of you, the only way to know what's in front of you, is to be conscious, to stop for a moment and look, to become aware. And until this happens as an automatic part of your existence, this awakening, it's a practice. And the practice is just as valid as the automatic awakening. Because when you become conscious, by just stopping, by getting still, by taking a breath, by looking around you, by remembering this is real, this moment is real, it is completely real. That's an extraordinary thing that takes place. We had what was called yesterday a Sitzprobe, strange word. That's German, and it means the first time that an orchestra and singers play together. And I looked at the singers, all sitting in their chairs behind the orchestra, hearing the orchestrations for the first time. They've always been singing to piano. And the look on their faces, the wonder, the amazement was so beautiful. And a number of them came up to me afterward and said they have to remind themselves, to pinch themselves, just to know that the thing they always dreamt of in their life, they're living right now. This was another extraordinary moment for them, and it was an extraordinary moment for me. But now every moment for me is extraordinary. And they're experiencing something out of the ordinary, and they are in love with it. The teaching, however, I think, is to learn what that feels like when something truly extraordinary happens, and then to realize you can feel that every day, every second of every day. The joy, the wonder, the amazement, the astonishment can be there all the time, because in truth it is always that. You have to be willing to look at it deeply, to stop and see, smell, hear. Rudy used to talk about the joy he would experience drinking a glass of orange juice or a glass of water. And I used to try to do that. I used to try to drink water and go, oh, this is so good. But it was hard. It was hard to do. Now it's not hard to do. Now a drink of water is a life-giving experience. But I really understand that I have that awareness because I spent 40 years trying to have that awareness. Because every so often I actually would experience it. Every so often I would get out of bed in the morning and go, wow, another day. Now I do that every day. I just do it. I don't even do it. It happens. It arises. The day arises and the astonishment arises with it. Because nothing is known, nothing is given, everything is amazing. Every moment is amazing. And it's okay to practice that. That's really what your meditation is about. Your meditation is the stopping point. Something I look at people on the streets of Manchester and I go, they don't stop. They don't stop to look. Nobody has a moment. Nobody takes a breath. Nobody looks around them or inside them. They just keep going automatically on this automatic pilot that makes them all a little bit crazy. And you really do see this. Manchester's a very rowdy place, and you see that rowdiness. You see this thing erupting in people all the time. It's a kind of dynamic hostility in a way, an energy that seems to be latent in many people there that just comes up. And you see it walking down the street. I hear more people yelling and screaming there than I've ever heard in most cities that I've lived in, and I see a lot of people really engaged in stuff, you know, swearing, yelling at people. There's a lot of activity around me, and I kind of am amazed by it. And it's very alive. It's very alive. I don't know if it would happen if people were more conscious. On the other hand, that they're unconscious and doing this is a kind of direct expression of a kind of life. And I watch this life unfold, and I stare at it, and I go, wow, wow, there is so much energy here. There's so much involvement. There's so much intensity. There's so much passion in people's lives. And I'm not trying to say rowdiness is a way to go, but what I'm saying is that there is something more invested than in what many of us live. Many people live these quiet, very, very subdued lives. Now I go to the supermarket, now I go to the bank, now I come home, now I watch TV, I eat dinner, I go to bed. And, you know, that's okay. It's okay if you see what you're doing. It's okay if you really are aware of what you're doing. But if you're not, if you're really asleep in all of that, if you're just going through the day asleep, you really feel in the end of the day like nothing has happened. Like nothing has happened. You've just gone through a day. Well, I made it through that one. That's a horrible way to live. It's a horrible way to experience being alive. When I was a kid, I was working at the World's Fair in New York, and the Johnson's Wax Pavilion had a movie that they showed by Francis Thompson. It was called To Be Alive. And you would go inside this thing, and they would raise the whole audience into this dome, and the whole dome would be filled with these screens. And the screens were showing the rituals of life everywhere in the world, all happening at the same time. And I would sit there and watch this, and I would go every day on my lunch hour to get on this ride. I had to stand in line and go up into this big dome. And I would get in there, and they'd start showing the rituals, and I got all emotional watching all of this. And at the very end, they would say, to be alive is everything. And I would cry, and I would cry every day. And I knew something then at that moment that I've come to know now. To be alive is everything. To be here, to touch this, to smell this, to know this, not as your own individual self, which is already pretty great, but as the self itself. For the self to know itself is, of course, the greatest of all experiences, the greatest of all non-experiences, because in a way, there's nobody having an experience so much as you're observing the thing itself arising and falling away. You're there as it, the thing itself. And as creation happens, as creation fills the blank screen of reality, moment to moment, day to day, and you are the observer of that, and the liver of that, the witness of that, and the very that of that. That's an amazing, amazing place to experience life from. It's an amazing place to be. And you don't have to do anything to get there because you're there as I'm talking to you. How can you be anywhere else? You're there right now. This is it. This is the unfolding. Somehow you've chosen to put this on your screen right now, and you're hearing this voice talking to you and saying these things because something in you wanted to hear this. But now take this into the next step. When this is over, keep it alive. Keep remembering. You are seeing the world. You are seeing creation. You are one with that creation, and you are participating in that creation. It's enormous. I've used this line many times because I'm just quoting Rudy, but he said, "Judge the success of your spiritual life by the happiness of the people around you." And for this last few weeks or months in England, I have been around people who are nothing but happy. I am surrounded by happy people. I cannot begin to tell you the joy of people living lives that make them feel that they are purposeful or meaningful. People are happy to be part of this play we're putting on. They feel it has something to offer, something to enter and provide to the world. They feel that they are part of something with content and meaning. And that's so powerful. What does it mean to be part of something that has meaning or content? Well, it just means that you are part of life reflecting life. You're part of something that touches people in a deep place. You're part of something that speaks to the world, that speaks to humanity, that speaks to another heart. And as being part of that somehow raises you up. Being part of that is the joy of life. And all anyone is trying to help you understand is you are part of that, right this moment. You are part of that, whether or not you're putting on a play, whether or not you're making dinner for someone, whether or not you're about to make a phone call to some friend that you really care about, whether or not you're going to write an email, you're part of this. You're part of this extraordinary thing. And every moment can have content and meaning. And you can make people happy. You can write an email right now to somebody and make them happy. And their happiness will filter back to you. You will be surrounded by happiness. Your spiritual life, your consciousness will have taught you how to bring happiness to others, and that will surround you with their happiness. It's very simple. Make the effort. Make the phone call. Tell somebody, your cab driver, how great they are. If you have a cab driver. Person at this checkout counter. The person who you live with. Send flowers to the person you live with, or the person you would like to live with. You're getting the idea. The idea is you're the engineer. You're the one. You're the one who can make all this happen. You're the designer of your own life. You're the creator of your own life. You are alive with this energy that wants to use you to make this joy and content and meaning and happiness in the world. That's who you are. That's your whole purpose in life. And when you start to do that, you will be happy. Because you realize your power to make people happy. And half the time you don't have to do anything, truly. The thing that you really learn is you just have to be that person. Be that internally. Be that presence. Be that joy. Be that simplicity. Be that acknowledgement that thing which says, I know you, I care about you, I have compassion for you, I love you. Be that person. You are that person. You're that person even as you're listening to this now. You know, every so often people will write me and say, I feel so good when I listen to your talks, I feel so wonderful. You know, and then the talk is over and they don't feel so wonderful. Well, that's not quite right. You can feel that all the time. That's who you are. That's who you are. These talks are basically the self talking to the self, reminding it what it can be. What you really, truly can be at any moment, and more specifically, what you are. Not being that is just falling into this ego-mindedness, this part of you that's tired of the repetition, tired of the journey, tired of the day-to-day, tired of the familiar. Well, the only way for you to not be tired of the familiar is make it not familiar. Let yourself be surprised. Let yourself be surprised by every moment as it comes. I'm telling you, if you get quiet enough and still enough, that will happen. It's only when you're in your mind and filtering everything and labeling it as, oh, familiar, 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 that that's what it becomes. When you get out of your mind and you sit still, it becomes unfamiliar, unfamiliar, surprise, surprise, amazement, amazement, astonishment, astonishment, all the time. It's not hard. It's really not hard. It's just remembering to do it. And allowing yourself to step back from your own mind, from your own judgment, from your own need to make things lesser or better or other than what they are. You don't have to make anything other than what it is at any moment. Just be with what it is. You know, getting soaking wet outside is not a bad thing in and of itself. It's only your mind that tells you that you're getting soaking wet. I've been walking through rainy Manchester every day and loving it. Blustery cold, I love it. Warm, sunny, it's beautiful. Nighttime, you know, quiet, empty streets, I love it. You just love it. Just love it. It's what it is. It's all what it is. And each one of us is here in this moment knowing what it is. Even if you don't know that you know, it's happening. And knowing that you know is where the joy comes from. It's remarkable. It is totally, remarkably unremarkable. And that's what we're doing. And so I'm about to put on my black suit and my black tie and get dressed up and go to this ceremony, and I'm going to have a great time. I love you all deeply. And I thank all of you who sent me my birthday greetings this week. I thank you all personally and collectively, because I haven't had time to really write to all of you to say thank you, but I really do thank you for your kindness and for your thoughtfulness. And I love you all. I love you beyond anything I can tell you. So have a wonderful Sunday, or whatever day this is for you. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your lives, keep your eyes open, look at how remarkable nothing that's happening and everything that's happening is.